The auction block reeked of despair and dried blood. Captain Marcus Reed stood among the crowd of alien traders, his face carefully neutral. Beneath the hood it concealed his human features. Around him, dozens of species haggled over living merchandise that huddled in cages stacked 3 high along the warehouse walls. He had tracked the slavers here to station Outreach, a lawless hub where civilized space ended and the frontier began. 3 months of following leads, bribing informants, and nearly getting killed twice. All to find her. Lot 47, the auctioneer announced, its translator implant rendering the clicks and whistles into flat, emotionless words. Female, species unknown, juvenile, suitable for labor or consumption. Marcus felt his jaw tighten. The cage door opened, and guards dragged out a small figure. She couldn't have been more than 16, her body thin and covered in bruises. Her skin had a faint bluish tint, and her eyes were too large, too aware. Not human, but close enough that his chest ached looking at her. The girl stumbled, fell to her knees on the platform. One guard kicked her casually, and she curled inward, but made no sound. Bidding starts at 200 credits, the auctioneer said. 200. A massive creature with 4 arms raised a paddle. 250. Another voice. This one mechanical dot Marcus watched, waiting. He had learned patience in his years, hunting slavers across the outer rim. Learned when to act and when to observe. The girl lifted her head. Her eyes swept the crowd, and for just a moment, they locked with his. Even across the distance, even through the hood, she seemed to see him. Really see him. Her lips moved, forming words without sound. He read them clearly. Please. 500, Marcus said, his voice amplified by his own translator. The crowd stirred. That was double the current bid for such damaged goods. 500 once, the auctioneer said quickly. Sensing profit. 600, the 4-armed creature countered. Annoyance in its posture. 1,000, Marcus said flatly. Silence fell across the warehouse. Even the auctioneer seemed surprised. For a moment, no one moved. Then the 4-armed creature made a dismissive gesture and turned away. Sold, the auctioneer declared. Lot 47 to buyer 793. Marcus moved through the crowd, credits already transferred from the false account he maintained for exactly these situations. The guards shoved the girl toward him, and he caught her before she fell. She weighed almost nothing, just skin and bone beneath the torn fabric she wore. She looked up at him, and this time he saw the intelligence behind those 2 large eyes. Saw the calculation, the desperate hope. Hold me, she whispered, so quietly only he could hear. Use me. Just get me out of here. His stomach turned, but he understood. She thought he was just another buyer with darker appetites. Thought she was trading one horror for another, but at least a personal hell might offer a chance to escape. Stay quiet, he murmured back. And stay close. He half carried, half dragged her toward the exit, playing the role of an impatient buyer. No one stopped them. No one cared. The auction continued behind them, more lots. More lives reduced to credits and consumption got his ship waited in Dock 7. A small cruiser that looked unremarkable, but had engines that could outrun most patrol craft. He got her aboard, sealed the hatch, and felt the station's docking clamps release as his automated systems initiated departure protocols. The girl stood in the center of his cargo bay, swaying slightly, watching him with wary eyes as he pulled back his hood. Her expression didn't change when she saw his human face. Maybe she didn't know what humans were. Maybe she didn't care. Sit, Marcus said, gesturing to a bench along the wall. Before you fall down. She sat, moving with the careful precision of someone who had learned that wrong movements brought pain. He disappeared into the ship's small medical bay and returned with supplies water, protein bars, a scanner, and a basic med kit. "Drink," he said. Offering the water dot, she took it, but didn't drink, holding the container like she expected it to be snatched away. "Or poisoned." "My name is Marcus," he said, settling onto a crate across from her, deliberately keeping distance between them. "I'm not going to hurt you. I bought you to free you, not to use you." She blinked slowly. "Why?" "Because slavery is wrong," he said simply. "Because no one deserves what happens in places like that station. Because I can." "What are you?" "Human, from Earth. Do you know it?" She shook her head. Marcus pulled out his datapad and called up a star chart. "We're here," he said, pointing. "Earth is here. There's a human colony world about 2 weeks from our current position. I can take you there. They have facilities for refugees, people who have been trafficked. They'll help you. And if I don't want to go there?" Her voice was stronger now, challenging. "Then I'll take you wherever you want to go," Marcus said. "Within reason. I'm not going to dump you on another station like Outreach." She finally drank, small sips that turned into desperate gulps. He waited until she finished before speaking again. "What's your name?" "Kira," she said after a long pause. "My name is Kyra. Where are you from, Kira?" "Dead," she said flatly. "My world is dead. The raiders came 6 months ago. They took everyone who survived the bombardment, sold us at different stations. I don't know where the others went." Marcus felt the familiar anger building in his chest. He had heard this story before, in a dozen different variations. Worlds on the frontier had little protection, and where law was weak, predators flourished. "The station you are on," Kira said, studying him. "You came there for me?" "No," Marcus admitted. "I was tracking the slavers, looking for their roots, their buyers, trying to build a case that the central authorities can't ignore. You were just another lot number, until I saw you. Until I begged you." Kira said double quotes yes. She nodded slowly, as if confirming something to herself. "You're one of them. One of the stories." "What stories?" "The traders talked sometimes," Kira said, "when they thought we couldn't hear or didn't care. They talked about humans, about how you were weak, newly arrived in the galaxy, barely past your own world, but also how you were crazy, how you would pay any price for slaves, not to own them, but to free them. How some humans spent their entire lives hunting slavers. They laughed about it, called it foolish." Marcus smiled without humor. "They're probably right, but we're a foolish species. We believe things that aren't practical, like dignity, like freedom, like the idea that every sentient being has worth." "Your government doesn't stop them," Kira said. "The human government, Earth. I heard the traders say humans have no real power out here." "They're right about that too," Marcus said. "Humanity is new to the galaxy. We don't have the ships, the influence, or the territory of older species. So people like me work outside official channels. We buy freedom when we can. We sabotage when we can't. We build evidence and hope that someday there will be enough political will to act." "That's why you bought me," Kira said. "You're building evidence." "Partly," Marcus admitted, "but also because I couldn't leave you there." Kira set down the empty water container and looked at him directly. "What happens now?" "Now you rest," Marcus said. "Eat, recover. I need to scan you for tracking devices and medical issues, but that can wait until you're stronger. We're on course for the colony. If you want to change destinations, tell me in the next day or so. Otherwise, we'll arrive in 2 weeks, and you'll be free to make your own choices." "Just like that?" "Just like that." Kira stood, still unsteady, but with determination in her posture. She crossed the cargo bay and stopped in front of Marcus, close enough that he could see the fading bruises on her arms, the hollowness in her cheeks. "On the auction block," she said quietly, "I asked you to hold me, to use me. I was trying to survive the only way I knew how. I know. But you didn't," Kira continued. "You brought me here and gave me water and told me I was free. Why?" Marcus looked at this girl who had survived horrors he could only imagine, who had been reduced to cargo and nearly to meat, who still had enough strength to stand here and demand answers. "Because humanity believes something the rest of the galaxy thinks is foolish," he said. "We believe that one person can make a difference, that every life saved matters. That dignity isn't something you earn. It's something you're born with. The galaxy doesn't understand that yet, but we'll keep showing them. One freed slave at a time, if we have to." Kira studied his face for a long moment. Then, slowly, she nodded. "Thank you, Marcus from Earth," she said. "Thank you for being foolish." She turned and walked toward the small cabin he had indicated earlier, her steps still unsteady, but her back straight. Marcus watched her go, then returned to the cockpit. Behind them, Station Outreach continued its business, buying and selling lives without conscience or consequence. Ahead lay the colony, and beyond that, the long work of building evidence, making connections, and slowly, incrementally, changing a galaxy that didn't yet understand what humanity knew in its bones, that every life mattered, that freedom wasn't negotiable, that someone had to care, even when it seemed foolish, especially when it seemed foolish.